In this video, we'll look at some powerful things that we can deliver on the Office 365 platform using apps for Office and apps for SharePoint. Now, one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of Office 365 is because it allows customers to really concentrate on adding business value to the platform rather than spinning cycles managing the platform, applying updates and monitoring infrastructure. So that's exactly what this solution is going to do using the app model. So I'm here in my Office 365 SharePoint Online tenant, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to a project site. And one of the things that I might want to do that adds business value is things like maybe invoicing things for my team. Now, invoicing isn't something that SharePoint does natively. A lot of the foundation is there, like libraries and maybe workflow, but it's not there out of the box. But it's something that's very easily delivered using the app model. So if I were to go to site content here, one of the things that I could do is explore the different apps that are available to me. So I could click on add an app, and I could maybe add something either from the store, the public marketplace, or from my organization. And in this case, if I go to from my organization, you can see that I actually do have a invoicing app that I've already added to my site. So let's jump into that invoicing app and see how the experience is. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it here in the navigation. And the first thing that you'll notice when I get into the app is it looks like SharePoint. And that's really the expected desire of the app model, is it really shouldn't feel like I'm leaving SharePoint. So this is actually, just like a normal experience. I have a document library here that I can work in. So what I'm going to do is go up to the file menu, and I'm going to add a new invoice. And when I do this, what it's going to do, it's actually going to launch a template, an invoice template in Microsoft Word, and also deliver an app for Office. So there it goes. It looks like Word is launched. And if we open it up, you'll see that it delivered me a template and actually an app for Office within that. So I have both my template and my app here that I can use to put together a really good looking invoice. So a few of the things you can see is it already pulled in like a sequential invoice number. That's something that I could have easily done in this. But what I'm going to do is maybe start populating some of this. So who is the invoice for? Well, one of the things I can do is use my app for Office, which is actually pulling in some of our line of business data. So these might be the different vendors that we work with. So I'm going to click on Fabricam, and when I say add, you can see that it inserts all the information about Fabricam Inc. So a great way that we can use our app for Office, this task pane app, to be able to go and look up line of business data and inject that into our Word document. So I'll continue here. I'll maybe say we'll do 40 hours. Let me look up a code here. So again, using some of the data within our app, I can go find maybe a skilled trade, and we'll do it for maybe $125 an hour for a total of $5,000. I'll stop at that. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and save this. When I click save, the default save location is actually going to be the same library that I started in. So I'll go ahead and save here, and it's going to give me a default name of invoice and then the invoice number. So I'll go ahead and say save. And actually, as soon as I do that, what it's actually doing is it's saving it to the library, but it's also going to kick off a workflow for someone to actually go and approve this invoice. So if I go back to SharePoint, you can see if I refresh my browser that we'll have our invoice in here. And also if I go to Outlook, here in just a moment, we will see an invoice show up because that workflow is going to go and route that to the appropriate person. In this case, the user that I was using, it's going to route it to his manager. So that should show up here in just a moment. Actually, one of the things that I'll show you first is, actually there it is. So if I click on it, you can see that it says there's an invoice pending your approval, but the details are actually going to be delivered using a mail app. So if I were to zoom in here, you can see that I actually have an invoice approval mail app that's going to allow me to do all the interaction with this invoice. So I'll go ahead and zoom back out, and if I click on this to activate the application, you can see that it loads our mail app, shows all the details about it, the invoice number, the vendor of Fabricam, the invoice total of $5,000, and the cost center, which was Project Falcon, which is where we actually had the invoice app installed. The other cool thing is, because all of this app model, both the apps for SharePoint and the apps for Office, are all delivered using normal web technologies, this also works on really any device that supports web technologies. So here I am on my phone, and you can see there's the invoice right there at the top. And if I were to click on that and go in and look at the details, it's the same email and I get the same mail app. Now it's a different form factor, but if I were to click on it, you'll see that it'll go and say, we found a pending approval. There it is, and I can go and click approve, and now I'm done. So hopefully that illustrates how we can combine these apps to deliver very powerful things. So we had a SharePoint app that contained a document template and a Word app that were delivered directly from that document library. And then we had a mail app to complete the whole thing. So very, very powerful. Apps for Office really starts helping you add that business value to your Office 365 investments.